as I said, Chelsea sanctions. This football club really is going to be the death of me. I swear to God. So obviously we beat Newcastle United 1-0, and Kai Havertz once again saving Chelsea. He's slowly becoming the clutchest player at the club. Although again, that's not a very high bar to pass because we are shit. So, but the sanctions now. Again, if you were living under a rock, please tell me what rock you were living under because I want to join you to get away from this. But Chelsea, or to be more specific, Roman Abramovich has had all his assets or UK assets frozen, meaning under normal circumstances, Chelsea Football Club would cease to operate. But obviously, you can't stop a football club. So the UK government had some sense about them to give Chelsea Football Club a special license to operate under special conditions. And these special conditions are fucking so weird. We can only spend something like 50 grand on away days, and away days that is like, and it's not like in the A-League where an away day is 4 hours up the road. Like we're going to another country to play. Like 40 grand to get a whole squad plus staff plus admin to France for 4, 5, 6 days or whatever, or maybe close to 4 days. But that's gonna be interesting to see if that actually ever happens. So we've got that. The club store shut down. We can't buy away tickets. We pretty much are operating on like football light. So it's like, you know how like you have like a normal game or like say like on a game on like an app store. You have like the full version which you have to pay like $3 for, and then you have like the light version. So it's like, I don't know, Flappy Bird Light, for example. We're kind of operating on football light. So we can do some things, but not a lot. But it's kind of like, oh, we're just giving you like a teaser of what you could do. So yeah, this is when I saw the news that he was sanctions, I was like, oh fuck, because my thought was, oh, we won't be able to do anything, we won't be able to play, we won't be able to literally do anything, because that's what I thought. But luckily they as I said, they allowed us to operate to some extent, and this is really confusing and really weird and a really odd thing to have happened to your football club, right? Because he's completely out of Chelsea Football Club's control. In terms of the fans and the players and the football club as a whole, it's out of their control. Was very much in the control of Roman Abramovich for a long time, right? And because he knew the risks of involving himself with certain regimes, and if that could come back to bite him in the ass, which it has. But I think every Chelsea fan would agree the sanctions were not only fair in terms of to freeze his assets, but also came a bit too late. The UK government should have acted a lot quicker, but they didn't, and we are now here where loads of countries have had sanctions on Russia for a long time, and the UK government have just caught up. Anyway, but for me, it's the whole notion of the Premier League have not done enough to protect Chelsea Football Club. And not only that, it is the whole hypocrisy around this sanctioning which gets me upset, and it gets me annoyed even. And I'll tell you what I exactly mean by that. So when a football club is being bought out, just like Newcastle were bought out not long ago, the owners have to go through a fit and proper test, which means, basically in broad terms, and I'm assuming everyone knows this, but just to overview it, they have to have the right intentions for the club, they need to show proof of funds, they need to have the right intentions, etc., to make sure that they're fit and proper to run a football club. The Premier League deemed Roman Abramovich to be fit and proper to buy Chelsea Football Club. As outsiders, we kind of have to put our hands up and say, okay, that's fine, because that's what's been agreed on, right? But when this happens, the owners has to go back on the Premier League and say, why was he allowed to buy the club in the first place? That's where Chelsea fans, or me in particular, is getting upset because we've just been been left out to dry by the Premier League because we weren't protected by them. We weren't protected from ourselves because every football club up and down the country, if we're linked to being bought out by someone worth $3.3 billion or whatever, every football club would take it. Maybe Liverpool and Man City, the exceptions. But if I go to Coventry and say, hey, there's this bloody Brazilian billionaire, multi-billionaire looking to buy a club, I'm pretty sure they'd be like, yeah. Let's take him, right? Because any sane football supporter would want that to happen to a football club because it means more money, better players, better everything, meaning success under normal circumstances. And that's one side of my frustration explained. The other side is how do I word this? It's the fact that Roman Abramovich, who is heavily linked to the current happening. So for those who don't know, basically Roman Abramovich owns a steel company in Russia. He's a part of one of many oligarchs, right? He owns a steel manufacturing company in Russia that is supplying weapons and materials and infrastructure and all that thing to the Russian government, thus the Russian military, thus the horrendous goings on in Ukraine. He owns that, right? So he's while he's not giving orders to invade Ukraine, he's facilitating it, right? So that's fine, fair enough. You can't do that. That's sweet. I think any sane, not even football fan, but sane person will go and will see that and think, yeah, fine, fair enough. He should be sanctioned. But with the most recent, you look at Man City and you think, all right, they've sports washed for ages, and their owners are just as shoddy as Roman Abramovich was. But the blatant way in which the Newcastle owners are being immoral is unbelievable. And this comes back to the fit and proper test and this arbitrary line of moral versus immoral. So, because for those who don't know, Saudi Arabia has been at war with Yemen for God knows how long. They've killed so many people. They've terrorized that country, right? Yet, they're like the state, pretty much, the government, have bought Newcastle United. Alright, whatever, fine, fair enough. So, the Saudi Arabian government, who are directly involved in the killing of millions of people, or hundreds of thousands of people in Yemen, are deemed to be moral. And maybe I shouldn't say moral. They are deemed to be not immoral, or not fit enough to own a football club. Yet Roman Abramovich, who is, yes, very involved, not directly involved, he's not the fucking president of Russia, right? Or the prime minister of Russia. He's not the head of the military, right? But he's very heavily involved. I think that's undeniable. He's deemed not fit enough to own a football club. Thus, the sanctions, thus his owner's license being removed by the Premier League. So it's this. So if Newcastle can have their owners, why can't we? And where do you stop? That's the thing. Where's this moral line where you have to stop? So it's maybe not frustration, and it's maybe not anger. It's just confusion because we don't know why it's only happening to us. We obviously know why it's happening to us in general, because I've said for the past 10 minutes why it's happening to us. And I think no Chelsea supporter thinking from a logical perspective and a rational perspective could deny that. Roman Abramovich should be sanctioned. He should have his owner's license removed. He should have all the things happen to him because of his involvement. That's undeniable. However, why isn't that happening to the Newcastle owners? Why isn't that happening to the Man City owners. Or maybe not the Man City owners, because I don't know too much about them. But I know quite a bit about the Newcastle owners. Why isn't it happening to them? It's that, like I said, that moral ambiguity type thing. It's very arbitrary. So we just need to hope that whoever buys Chelsea next meets the fit and proper test, actually meeting the fit and proper test rather than just pretending to. But we all know these trillionaires have enormous amounts of wealth, no shit, but have millions of ways of hiding whatever they want, hiding whatever they need, and making themselves look to be the best person or the person fit to do whatever they want to do. It's just that really frustrating thing of, I'm being punished, and I'm not saying me, and I'm not saying, oh, look at me, feel sorry for me. It's Chelsea fans are being punished for something that, personally, if Roman Abramovich left under normal circumstances, I would be sad, because obviously he's given 20 years of unparalleled success to Chelsea Football Club. But I was never the biggest fan of Roman from a holistic perspective. So this isn't going to hurt me personally as much as it will hurt some people who love Roman to bits. But there's that fine line you cross. Anyway, let's stay on the Premier League, but let's move to something slightly lighter.